come here, look at this dash here. This is a new Carr Telstar. You see here, it goes from 0 wattage, which isn't terribly useful, up to 17 watts, which is very useful. So you can bring down the wattage. It's not a master volume, it's a wattage. And then they have this little switch here that's 58 or 53. If you are a Tweed amp fan, 53s are a little squishier. They don't break up. It breaks up more. 58s are a little tighter. And then there's also lean and lush. Lush is going to be also a little squishier. So they're kind of opposite. You want it real flubby, quicker to distort, you're going to put it on lush. And a simple tone control and reverb. I'm not a big reverb guy, but I have to say, these little amplifiers are fantastic. If you look at the grill, the way it wraps around, we wait for months for these things to come in, and usually being a voltage, not a master volume, you're going to lower it a little bit here. Okay. Now I can talk over this. Both of these things, this is a used Collings i35 LC, laminated construction. You can see it's basically patterned after a 335, which has a center block, 2 humbucking pickups, and a arch top and back. So with the arch top, as we've said before, you dissipate any resonant frequencies. You don't have any hot spots. So both the amp and these Collings are on big back order. Both the amp and these Collings i35s we've been waiting for. And if you remember, about a year ago, I said, we're going to get some in. And guess what? We've got some in. We do have Telstars in stock. This is serial number 1. It's the prototype. That is not for sale. I'm going to keep it here so people can try it, but I do have one that's available now. This is a fantastic amp for gigging. The box is big enough, the cabinetry is solid wood, it has reverb on it, which is great, and it cleans up very nicely too. You can get this amp to be... It's funny, this semi-acoustic guitar is just as loud as the amp right now. But if I were to turn it up, I'll flood the microphone. And that, by the way, is not even halfway. It can do any gig you want. So, on that, the little amp, I'm also going to mention these big amps. The larger amplifiers are largely out of vogue these days, but we just took in this 1967 blackface Bandmaster head and cabinet. If you have a place to put a bigger cabinet, you're going to get this fantastic bass response. It's just like the difference between a stand-up bass and a cello. The bass response on bigger cabinets, and these cabinets are lightweight. They're made of pine, not plywood. Plywood is mostly glue. So if you pick up a bucket of glue, it's pretty heavy. Real wood, pine, is very soft. It'll resonate all the way around. These larger Fender cabinets from the late 60s are still made of pine. The reason you want them is this. The bass response. The clarity, the bass response is fantastic. You can't add that with an EQ. You can't take a small amplifier and get this. Listen to the Beatles' Let It Be record, you're going to hear that big, bassy sound they get. How did they get that tone? At the time, they were using late 60s Fender cabinets, and it had this just fantastic bass and a really clear, definite treble. It's like grandma's tube stereo. There's something about these old Bandmasters. We have Tremoluxes that are smaller, 210 cabinets. These are great for dragging around. You can gig with this because they're very light. The Carr Telstar, also solid wood, solid pine, for lightweight, much more usable for these days. That's probably the amp you want. This is a fantastic bulletproof hand-wired made in the USA amplifier that's on back order by about 8 months. So we have one for you. And then this, Bandmasters. They were hugely popular and they do this.